What's up, everybody? It's your boy Battle Gemini here today, and today I'm going to be doing a reaction video to Antonio Speaks. He is a black content creator that likes to talk a lot about, the black community and some of the issues we have in our fight against white supremacy. And this is one of them. Today, the topic is going to be called "The Postmalone Method is Undefeated." And this is a topic that comes up for me personally a lot, just about white people in black spaces, how that could kind of be for the good or for the worse. So let's get into it. You guys already know what to do. Grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's go.
So if I was a non-black person, specifically white, and I wanted to gain a lot of money, notoriety, fame, etc., right? There are two options that I would follow behind. Number one, I would find me a black person. It could be a friend or not a friend, right? But we basically gonna be in a partnership. In this agreement, I am going to take the highest profit of this money because I am going to be affected the most. But essentially what I would do is I would have my black friend come into my job, preferably something fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, right? And I'll have like a decoy standing off to the side recording. And what'll happen is I'm going to tell the black dude to start an argument. And while in the midst of me trying to calm the black dude down, I'm going to call him a slur, preferably the N-word slur. This is going to be caught on camera. Now the next step is very crucial. We gonna hit up all of these racist Twitter pages. We gonna hit up all of these big right-wing YouTubers, Hodge twins, all them type of dudes, and we're gonna tell them to post a video. We're then gonna come out and say that we got fired, because we probably would. And essentially we're gonna start a GoFundMe. Now this could go very good or it could go bad. As we have seen in 2025, man, multiple people have started GoFundMes because
This nigga loves to troll. I like it though. Keep talking your shit, Antonio.
they were blatantly racist. I mean, millions of dollars. So that's my option, okay? It's kind of shameful, but hey. Now
And this is the new meta for like racist white people trying to profit off of their racism. This is the new meta, do some heinous shit, get caught in public doing some heinous shit towards black people, and then, galvanizing the right-winging base or the right-winger base, the MAGA cult, into basically fucking feeding their profit farm.
Second option would be way less risk, and it's simply the Postmalone method. Now you ask, what is the Postmalone method? It's basically cultural appropriation. Think of the artist Post Malone. He first gained fame in 2015 dropping his song White Iverson. In this song, he was basically acting like a black American, had the cornrows in, had the gold teeth, was dressing like a black person. Fast forward to 2026 and he's an entirely different person. Now this is a problem because with the Post Malone method, all you're doing is just using black people in the culture to get ahead. Because it's like, why couldn't you start off with country music? I gotta admit this, man. As black people, I hate this about us. We are too accepting and anything impresses us. How many times have y'all been scrolling on an IG post, Instagram post, shit, even Facebook at times, and you see a white person that is, I guess, acting black? The comments are full of,
this is something that I actually speak on a lot. I do feel like the black community needs to gatekeep a lot harder now. And I do feel like a lot of that was changing with the younger generation. And it's because sometimes I feel like the younger generation wasn't as educated on black issues as the previous generation. And so we let a lot of shit slide. And then now we're seeing how all that shit, what happens when you let all that shit slide. And we're starting to see the repercussions of that. And I do think that there is a tide shift kind of happening right now. I think more and more young people are getting involved in not just politics, but just getting engaged with how society will treat us and how we should move accordingly to protect ourselves, to protect our culture, and to protect our identity. Because unfortunately, we don't live in a society that likes black people. We live in a society that looks to profit off of us at every turn it can.
people inviting them to the cookout. And it's like, bro, these are the bare minimum things, because think about it, y'all.
Yeah, and this is another thing, being invited to the cookout. I got all my white friends and shit. Oh, let me be to the cookout. I always tell them, the cookout's closed until liberation. And you know what I'm saying? You can't just be letting anybody to the cookout.
Flip it over and you see a black person, trying to do rock or pop or something like that. Even though those did start with black people, but I'm just using it as an example. How many times have we seen a black person in rock and the white people in that situation are supporting them and telling them, yeah, bro, you invited to the goddamn country club. You don't see that. In fact, they're going to get mad at you. Look at Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Now on the screen right here, we have
not even just that. I come from a metal background, and you see this a lot in rock and metal. But we could look at the lead singer of Killswitch Engage. Motherfuckers were hating on him because he was black. You know what I'm saying? This is a reoccurring thing that happened when, I guess you could say, black people infiltrate white spaces. Even though rock was made by us, the godmother of rock is Rosetta Tharpe, which is, if you don't know, she basically pioneered the Beatles. She basically pioneered Led Zeppelin. All like the best rock bands got inspiration of her. But as you know, you don't know anything about her because, you know, she was just recently indicted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They try to erase her from history despite her making basically a whole new genre of music.
Two examples, obviously Post Malone on the right, we just talked about him. I don't know who this guy is in the middle. Y'all can tell me who he is, but as you can see, chain, watches, braids, and now he's country. And then Jelly Roll. I never knew this about Jelly Roll. I mean, I don't think Jelly Roll is a bad dude. I don't know much about him. But as you can see, bro, cornrows, he probably was around a lot of black people, and now he's full on shit MAGA coded.
Yeah.
This that boy right here, I call him Junior, you know what I'm saying? They know him in the streets, Jelly Roll. Ass stacks, he'll tell you a whole new asshole on that freestyle to my son, help me God, you know what I'm saying? That's the future right there. That's what it is, though. You know what I'm saying? That's the future right there. I probably won't be here to see it, so you know what I'm saying? Lex gonna have to coach him up. Rap don't work for me, I can get a bird for cheap. I know you heard of me, come on, he's murder, and I will chop your ass up like it's a cheeseburger. Jelly, I'ma live it up. Jelly, I'ma live it up. I tried to draw my dick on a piece of paper, but the paper wasn't big enough, so give it up. Homie, you ain't talking about that.
Yes.
I'm probably gonna sigh a lot in this video. What the fuck was that? See, and this is what he was saying, you know, I feel like sometimes black people get a little too impressed when they see other people. And you know what? It's just really because, like, we want people to love our culture because we're so used to people not loving us. So yeah, we do get excited when we see other people partake in our culture in a way that might seem, you know, good at first, but then later down the line it always turns out to be performative, you know.
This is Jelly Roll. This is Jelly Roll with some braids, an iced out chain, and a 5X red tee, bro. This is when he was hanging with the Nagas. I'm noticing a trend, right?
Crazy.
Jelly Roll, Post Malone, Machine Gun Kelly, Kid Rock. They all started hanging with niggas. All started their career off.
We could even throw Pink in there, low key. Hold on, let me get the B-roll on that. Y'all remember this? Pink thought she could get away with it. It's tragic.
Please don't come around talk about that you love.
All right. I ain't even gonna waste my time. So Antonio does have like a really good point because there is a pattern, if you will, of white artists starting out exploiting black culture, extracting the wealth from it, and then just ditching it at the end, just completely distancing themselves on it, you know, or in Post Malone's case, you know, seemingly dissing the culture that made him, saying that, oh, no good music comes out of there, nothing worth listening to comes out of rap or any sort of black culture. And this is an ongoing trend. This is an ongoing problem that we have, right?
Jelly Roll, Post Malone, Machine Gun Kelly, Kid Rock. They all started hanging with niggas, all started their career off as rappers. And then once that failed, they go to either country or rock and roll. They all use black American culture to get ahead in the music business. And once they are established, that's when they go to their true selves. And
this is something that doesn't just happen in rock. It doesn't just happen in music in general. It happens in so many other things. I'm actually gonna get into it real quick.
Using and abusing black Americans, bro.
Bring that up.
Heavy. You know who ain't do that? Paul Wall. Eminem.
Yep.
I'll even throw in Everlast.
Now, the reason why I want to talk about Eminem specifically is because, I ain't gonna lie, me and the homies were talking about it earlier this week, but I have no criticism of Eminem as a artist. No criticism. The nigga is goated, okay? Where my criticisms of Eminem lie, and it always lies, is the implications of what it means to allow somebody like Eminem into the culture. What do I mean by this? I do feel like Eminem is kind of the token white person in blackface for white people to be like, oh yeah, I listen to rap, I know Eminem. But then in the same breath, they won't even begin to acknowledge a Kendrick Lamar or a Wu-Tang Clan or a Tribe Called Quest. They won't even begin to even dive into the parts of the culture that make it so great. And this is inherently problematic, and this is why I get frustrated whenever a white person tells me, oh, I like rap, I listen to Eminem. Shut up. You don't know anything about the culture. You don't know anything. But unfortunately, somebody like Eminem gives a lot of these white people agency in a culture that they have nothing a part of. Anyways, let's get back into it. Just a little PSA. I fuck with Eminem. Just don't fuck with some of the discourse around him being in the culture.
That's a
At
fact.
least they were consistent.
Now, this is the thing too, y'all. I do understand that there are some white people that grew up in the hood. And this is why I explained that a lot of times you are just a product of your environment, right? So these white dudes that grew up in the hood, they in a sense adopt Black American culture. And it's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is when you use it as just a phase for you. Because what you will see is a lot of these white people, their bad phase is, I guess, cosplaying Black American culture. So while they're in their early teens and late teens, they'll be around Black people kicking it. And then as they grow out of that phase, that bad era, whatever you want to call it, they're around all white people. And that's just how I'm thinking with it. Now,
and why that's problematic is because it is always presented as this bad phase, this rebellious phase. And that just further reaffirmed a overrepresented stereotype of our culture, of us, is that we are rowdy and unwieldy, or we're just inherently violent. That reaffirms this misrepresented stereotype of us, further making us stereotyped in a way that is disingenuous. It further dehumanizes us in a way that can go unnoticeable at times, in a way that is permissible.
I want to touch upon just the whole, and I honestly want to know why is a white person dancing or a white person singing some rap lyrics so exciting to Black people? I am genuinely confused.
The desire that many Black folks have to inviting white people to a cookout is a lot like the need that children have towards having a good relationship with a parental figure who has hurt them. Let me land. This came to me because I was watching a video by this white man who's a father, stay-at-home father, talking about his resentment towards other men who have all these hobbies, who all these extracurricular activities, because that's a sign that you're not there and you're not an active parent. The more muscles and hobbies you have as a dad, most likely the less present you are and the more of a burden you are to your female partner. This is obviously a point that many women have been trying to make to their husbands forever, but this man, and to men in general, but this man distilled it in a quick video. So people are all in the comments saying, fine, you can have a platform, fine, you can have a podcast mic. In the era of people saying ban men from podcasts, women are in the comment sections telling him he can have one. And I don't know if it was because he was talking about parenting, but it immediately struck me as being that same thing of when a child is desperate to reconnect to the parental figure who has been harmful to them. They are so eager to forgive them. They're so eager to let the past be the past, because for some reason, even though that parental figure has harmed you, you still seek their approval. That invitation to the cookout and the invitation to have a podcast, while it's you giving approval to the white man or to the white person, it's really a mechanism for their approval, because you're inviting them into your space. You're saying, fine, you can come, but you hope that they want to come into that space because it still validates that space. In fact, the invitation already presupposes that the white person wants to be at the cookout, because that invitation wouldn't hold any water if they didn't. But why would they want to be at the cookout? Because they perceive it as something fun, interesting, worthwhile. Yeah, that is them validating the cookout as a place to want to be, meaning that people who invite white people to the cookout, while they're doing the inviting, it's still a validation mechanism of seeking approval from whiteness. The same way that kids who want to connect with harmful parental figures seek that same approval.
Hey, shout out to the sister, man.
That girl explained it in a way that I hadn't thought of, but it is like that parental relationship with a parent that you're still seeking to have a good relationship with them despite the fact that they've harmed you. Because deep down, you want their approval despite how they might have abused you in the past or hurt you in the past. And I do feel like I previously stated, I do feel like a lot of Black people are so quick to be like, oh, look at him, he doing a Dougie, or, you know, he's invited to the cookout, because we are so used to being exploited. We are so used to being put down by white people, right? And white people run everything in this society. So if you aren't assimilating to whiteness, then you aren't doing good in this society. That's how they try to structure the society. So it does make sense to me that a lot of Black people are so quick to be like, oh, you're invited to the cookout, because, you know, they are seeking that approval despite it harming them, despite how white people have harmed them in the past.
She broke it down perfectly. It all goes back to white approval. And on the surface, a lot of Black people don't want to admit it, but they seek this. A lot of non-white people do. I'm glad that me personally, I never really saw things from this lens, but I could understand how a Black person could. But please, stop sending out fucking cookout invitations. Stop calling these people white chocolate for singing a song. Like, I'm so
White
tired.
chocolate.
And look, we got a group of...
All right, let's get back to it. My bad.
That's a white man up there. He invited to the cookout. Oh my God. Bro, he's doing nothing but just driving his car. And man, god damn, bro, y'all gotta get off the We got spicy white. This one has seasoning. Yes, these are some other terms. This another one. That's not that's not Sean. That's the Sean. I'm telling you, bruh.
Yeah.
I be seeing. I'm glad I'm
You
not
do
the
see
only
a
one
lot of
noticing
this.
this. These are all from like the last week. Now, for the last segment of this video, I want to talk about something.
I also do feel like this also comes from a really whitewashed way of trying to be in unity. I do feel like that comes from us being told how we should combat racism from white people versus how we've actually been told to combat racism from black people all throughout history. That's kind of just my little take on it. If you guys have anything to add on that, let me know. I'm sure you guys have some good takes on that. But I do feel like that also plays a part in why black people do seek that validation sometimes from white people.
Something that has been going on TikTok right now. Recently, a new JFK Jr. series has dropped, and within this film, a lot of white people noticed like the style that JFK Jr. was rocking. They were glazing this style and actually emulate. So in the caption of this video, he said a JFK Jr. inspired. Okay, and I just want y'all to look. This is another one. Someone said JFK Jr. inspired fits are back. And I'm not saying nothing, y'all. Y'all see it.
It's crazy how black people are never the inspiration for the styles that we made cool. Bro, when I think of Kangol hats, I can't picture a single non-black person that was really putting these on. All right, so that JFK Jr. show came out, and all these people are clamoring to replicate his style, calling him ahead of his time and a timeless individual, an icon. And yet the thing is, he was really behind. Black people were already dressing like this.
Literally, bro.
Where do you think he got the look from? Instantly, when I look at his style, I see Denzel Washington. He should be the first person you think of when you look at anything like this. Right after that, you can throw in Kadeem Hardison too. He was putting it on. But it's really crazy how many people are trying to emulate this style, whether genuinely or for clicks, but yet would never do the same for the people who actually made it cool. Now, I'm not surprised. This is nothing new, but it does make me laugh. We're always there creating viral fashion, and yet we're never the inspiration.
Like I said earlier in this video, it doesn't just happen to music. It happens to so many facets of black culture where it is exploited, stolen, and wealth is extracted from it. Fashion is actually one of those things. This just brings to mind of the Jam podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Go check them out. I'll put a link in the description. But the Jam Boys, they had a episode in talking about the monogram in fashion and how that was created by a black pioneer and later on was stolen. So like the monogram that you see on Louis Vuitton, the monogram pattern, right? Or the Gucci monogram pattern. That was originally a black creation and it was stolen from a black designer. So many aspects of black culture are stolen and exploited for the wealth of white people while we get nothing from it.
Today talking about JFK's style. And I said that JFK had great style. He just dressed like a black man in the 90s.
Literally.
And of course the fragile white people are in my comment section saying, no,
hey,
he
he's
didn't dress
smooth
like
too
a
though.
black man. You guys think you invented everything. He just dresses in the 90s aesthetic. I hate to burst your bubble. The 90s aesthetic for men that you are associating with the 90s comes from
black people. And
Yeah,
this is an
that's so
example of
facts.
what goes on in today, y'all. What do they call AAV or black slang? Gen Z slang.
Yep.
TikTok slang. They always trying to group it in. No, nigga, that's our shit. Bro, and they get so offended when we try to claim things. Oh, you guys say you invented everything. You did this. I mean, shit, we damn near did. And we never get credit for it. Look at what just happened. Y'all understand how frustrating that is, okay?
That's actually a hard concept to explain, is how even our dialect, the way we speak, is gentrified. Because I think a lot of people like to hide behind the guise of, well, some people just come from there. You know, or, you know, maybe they grew up around black people, but oftentimes, more often than not, that's not the case. They just are mimicking what they see. And what do they see? They see a lot of black culture because that's what's popping. What's up? It's Future Gemini here. I know I look a little different from the last clip because I just got my hair done, but I want to kind of spend a little bit more time with this and try to explain what I'm trying to say a little bit more, because I do feel like this is something that can be taken out of context or purposely or willfully misunderstood. I am not saying that there aren't people who aren't black, who come from black spaces and just so happen to use our dialect of English. I'm not saying that. There is that. But on the other side of that, there is people who have no ties to black culture and hide behind the guise of assimilation, not realizing that the reason why they do those things is because black culture is being exploited and repackaged to them as it's their own product or it's something for them to own. And they don't recognize that because a lot of people don't realize we live in a racialized society. A lot of people don't realize we live in a racial caste system. So that's all I was just trying to say. Let me guys know what you think in the comments, but back to the video. It is also a hard, like I said, it's a hard concept, and a big reason is because the white psyche is to own, and white people don't even realize that they live in a racialized society, so they just see themselves as the default. Right? And that's problematic. Their white habitism, as quoted from a book called Racism Without Racism, they have this almost state of habitat that shields them from actually thinking too hard on these things. I'm gonna leave it there for now, but thank you guys so much for coming to the video. Remember to like, comment, and share. And also, subscribe. And if you guys are looking for any good reading material, I highly suggest reading the book Racism Without Racism. I'm gonna put a picture of it right here. Go check that shit out. All right. Also, I'll see you guys next time. Yeah.